Hello everyone, welcome to a DIY Friday with Legal Behemoth. This Friday we'll be dealing with a heads of argument. In this video in particular we'll be dealing with what is a heads of argument, what is the purpose of a heads of argument, how to go about writing one with a focus on formatting and structure, and we'll also provide you with a little checklist to help you with future assignments.
For heads of argument, we'll be using a set of facts from a moot competition. A link will be placed on this document with the set of facts. To begin, what is a heads of argument? As it befits all law students, let's refer to case law. In Cartels and Cartwrights versus Birkin Cars and other, Judge Hams states the following. There also appears to be a misconception about the function and form of a heads of argument. The rules of the court require the filing of the main heads of argument. The operative words are main, heads, and argument. Main refers to the important parts of the argument. Head refers to the points, not dissertation. Lastly, argument involves a process of reasoning which must be set out in the head. A recital of facts and quotations from authorities do not amount to an argument. As you can tell from the above extract, the heads of argument is a very important document that can ultimately influence the outcome of your case. The heads of argument sets out the most important aspects of your argument. Please take note that in this tutorial we'll only focus on the basic outline and structure of heads of argument. For a detailed discussion on proper legal research and writing and referencing, check out the upcoming tutorials. So, continuing, what is the purpose of a heads of argument? Usually in practice, a judge will reserve judgment after both parties deliver the argument. What this means is that the judge will take some time to consider the arguments and evidence, come to a conclusion, then write a judgment. In effect, months may pass by between the trial and passing of the judgment. The judge probably presides over a hefty amount of cases in the meantime. Your heads of argument should serve as a reminder of the important facts, issues, and arguments of your case. Remember that you will use a persuasive style of writing in your heads of argument. You may never lie or misinterpret any facts to the court in your heads of argument. But nothing prevents you from using cunning language to represent the facts in a way that favors your argument. To begin formatting your document, you open up a plain blank Word document. Do not underestimate the importance of proper formatting. A neatly presented document will always count in your favor. Make sure your document is formatted as follows. Font Arial, font size 12, line spacing 1.5. Your paragraph must be justified and numbered. Margins must be normal. Your headings numbered. If you use bold headings, do so consistently. Your pages must be numbered. Common sense. Start sentences with capital letters, end sentences with full stops. Insert a space after a full stop and pay attention to spelling and grammar. These basics are very important. The above specifications are general rules. Pay attention to any specific instructions your lecturer may provide regarding formatting. Different lecturers may have a different formatting preference. Moving along to structure. Remind yourself who your audience is for the heads of argument. It's a judge, the people who determine the fate of your client. You, therefore, want to do anything in your power to assist them in understanding your argument. Following a proper structure in your heads of argument will assist your reader in understanding your argument. You will start with a heading which states in which court and where the case is heard. Typically, the heading is styled in all capital letters, centered, and in bold. Just below this, a case number should be provided. The next part of your heading will identify the two parties to the matter. Read the facts carefully. What type of matter are you dealing with? If it's a criminal case, the state will be a party. In a civil matter such as our example, you will have an applicant and respondent. Can you identify them? The next step is to identify whose heads of argument this is. Whose side are you on? As you can see, this is the applicant's heads of argument. You may choose to insert a table of contents at this point, but if your arguments are simple and straightforward, this is not necessary. At this point, you may start off with an introduction. In this section, you will briefly state the facts and identify the main issues. Next, identify your issues. Add a concise roadmap of your arguments just to orientate your reader. You will later elaborate further on each of these separately. I'm sure you can identify many more legal issues from this set of facts, but for the purpose of this illustration, we'll stick to these two. Now, we continue to deal with each of the legal issues separately. You will identify the relevant legislation and case law, apply the law to your facts, and provide a conclusion separately for each issue. You conclude your heads of argument with prayers. Here you indicate what you want the court to do about your problem. What remedies do you wish the court to grant? At the end of your heads of argument, you must add a bibliography. All case law, legislation, and other relevant sources used in your heads of argument must be listed and formatted according to a specific referencing style. At the University of the Free State, Faculty of Law, we prefer the Journal of Judicial Science referencing style. This referencing style will be discussed in detail in an upcoming tutorial.
Thank you so much for watching this video. And just to make sure that you have everything, we're going to quickly go through the checklist with you. Just a note to our viewers that this is designed mostly for University of the Free State students, but even in that case where other students use them, always double check instructions or rules that a competition may have in terms of submitting heads of argument, or if it's for an assignment, always make sure that you understand what your lecturer wants and what they don't want you to do. That being said, remember to have a prescribed heading, and this is very important because you marks for it, that you know which court the matter is being held in, and including a case number, for example. Remember to have an introduction, a factual background, and then the third heading in your heads of argument, depending on the structure you go with, is going to be your legal issues. This heading is where you highlight which issues you'll be addressing, and then you address those issues afterwards with separate headings. Remember that in your argument on the first legal issue or your argument on the second legal issue, not to have lengthy elaborations. So after you've done your legal issues and dealt with them separately under separate headings, you usually have your prayers. Most people see prayers as a conclusion or conclusions to your arguments that you did above, but technically what needs to happen is that you have to provide a summary or a conclusion for all your arguments. Your argument on the first issue should have conclusion, your argument on the second issue should have conclusion, and then your prayer needs to be very specific than a conclusion, because a conclusion would be like, and on the second legal issue we conclude that A, B, C, D, E. For the prayer, it's a bit more specific, and for example, like we said, you need to conclude every argument with a summary. Then your prayers will look like, for example, a court order, or it's a section where you're asking the court for specific relief for certain actions. So for example, if we're dealing with a divorce case and you've dealt with all the issues in the divorce case, then your prayer is going to look like something like, remember with your paragraph spacing, then you have your paragraph spacing, say paragraph 11, wherefore the defendant or the applicant prays for, paragraph 11.1, a decree of divorce, paragraph 11.2, the parental rights and responsibilities in respect of care and permanent residency be awarded. That's just an example. Remember to always double check with your lecturers and the competition rules when submitting, but other than that, remember to include a bibliography and make sure that it's up to standard in terms of formatting, whichever formatting rules your university or the competition uses. And that's it for today.